What's the matter? You look upset.
I don't think this whole YouTube thing's working out.
You know what needs to be done.
You're in heaven, darling. You are on your own now, love.
Wait, don't! Oh, that's just great. Now what do I do? Better find someone to explain this to me, I guess. Excuse me, pardon me, just passing through. What the Hitler?
Yes, it is Hitler.
Well, how the hell did you get in here?
I was once just as confused as you, but apparently, my positive Christianity was enough to get me in. And that's what I did.
Oh, sweet, a new guy. What's up?
Oh, hi, Ginger Snaps.
You're definitely new here, aren't you?
I'm that obviously out of my element, huh?
So come on, what's the name?
Miguel, you?
Oh, I'm Angel.
Oh, so this is one of those scripts, isn't it?
So do you like it here?
I mean, I haven't been here all that long, and I kinda noticed Hitler was hanging around, so where are we?
Welcome to the kingdom of God.
Wait, I thought we were already in heaven.
Oh, no, we are. That's just the name of the place. So do you want to come in?
Sure.
You thought I was done? No way, bro. No way, bro. How can you boy be done?
In heaven, that is the plan. Videos were never unlisted.
This is the best place ever. What else do they have?
Whatever you want, man.
Wait, really?
Yeah, since you get whatever you want in heaven, whatever shows up on the screen is up to you. Go ahead, try it.
Alright, cool, I'll try it.
Except for porn, Miguel.
Oh, God, this is
No. It was everybody's first try, but this is kind of a holy place, so you know. That means no porn.
Boo!
Just try again, I guess.
Ugh, fine, whatever.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Wait,
oh, hell yeah.
What? Dude, these movies are stupid.
Well, I mean, I know that, but come on, have you ever heard of camp or being tongue-in-cheek?
Sure, man, whatever, but still, those movies are terrible.
They're goofy, I get that, but come on, it's almost intentional at this point.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? And cue the intro! Was that a lazy transition or what? Oh, and if you're not all caught up already, I got killed last video, so, you know, link in the description and whatnot. Okay, cool, so where was I? Oh yeah, the new Chucky movie's on Netflix. Cult of Chucky is the 7th entry into the Child's Play franchise, which began way back in 1988 with the release of... Child's Play, directed by Tom Holland. No, not that one. And follows Nika Pierce, who is now institutionalized following the events of Curse of Chucky, aka the one no one saw. However, Chucky emerges as a slasher villain does, and begins terrorizing Nika and her compatriots. This situation brings some franchise veterans back into the fold. And that's as much as I'm gonna give up. So, on the whole, what I think? Well, I figured I would quickly go through the rest of the series first, give minor plot run-throughs, snappy critiques and compliments, all that stuff.
Come on! Bad enough I have to hear about the 1. Now 7?
Holy dude. I won't be covering them extensively, if that's any comfort.
Alright, fine, let's get this over with.
As I mentioned, this one came around in '88, so all of you people who claim Chucky's a full-fledged '80s villain, nope, he came around way too late to be. Anyway, I digress. The story follows Karen Barkley, a financially struggling mother who buys her son Andy the popular good guy doll as a gift from some literal bum. Not long after, the bodies start falling, and while the police seem to think that Andy is responsible, there might be a more insidious origin behind the doll, And yeah, the doll did it. Sorry, Tom Holland, but when you make the big reveal of the first scene in your movie, it kinda ruins the whole whodunit angle you're shooting for. Better luck next time. So yeah, the mystery angle this movie was going for falls flat because of a really questionable pacing decision in the beginning. But outside of that, I'd be lying if I said this movie doesn't kind of work in a weird, Chucky kind of way. Thanks to some awesome creature work from Kevin Yeager and a maniacally fun turn from Brad Dourif, Chucky as an antagonist is memorable as hell, even with that spoiler thing. He's snarky and grimy and a really distinct personality that keeps you drawn in by the horror sequences. Everyone else is fine. I mean, it's a pre-2000 slasher film, so even the worst performances are at least enjoyable in their hokiness. Which means it isn't really a huge detriment, so I can't be way too hard or critical on him here. It's also, in words best put by the late Roger Ebert, cheerfully energetic, so you can watch the movie, have a good time, not take too much away in terms of death or sheer terror, and move on with your life. I have my bias because this was my favorite horror franchise for years way back when, but to anyone else, it's daffy in the best possible way. Not to mention, it gave the horror world a delightfully awful Chucky rap, song, jingle. Bless you, Joe Renzetti, you wonderful, wonderful hack fraud, you. Okay, lightning round, baby. Lightning round. Let's knock this out. Fast forward to 1990 and we arrive at Child's Play, directed by John LaFia. Wait. Who? I don't see a filmography page or anything. Moving past that, after the events of film numero uno, Andy is in the foster care system, aka the least familial thing you could ask to be a part of. A family finally picks him up, everything's great and good. But then Chucky arrives, fresh off of being shot and burnt and everything but the kitchen sinked to death. After his resurrection via Force Lightning, he sets off to find Andy, itching to finally slide that long, hard soul into Andy's tight little boy body. Horror hijinks ensue, people die, your usual. Remember how I said Child's Play was a really unscary horror flick that worked because it was fun? We got another case of that here, times 1,000, another good one. Released in 1991 because the studio wanted money. Andy is Jimmy Olsen now, look it up, and he's at military school because people think he's a murderer. Or they saw him in Dungeons & Dragons and figured he should do a push-up for every penny people wasted going to see that trite. But he's not a murderer, we know that, and Chucky's back, predictably, and we get both horror and boot camp tropes aplenty. What we've got, ladies and gentlemen, is Friedberg and Seltzer's first attempt at legitimate horror. I hate this one. I hate it so much. It isn't scary, it isn't funny, and the Chucky animatronic looks like the Danny Zuko garbage pail kid from that movie your man-child uncle keeps locked away in his attic in shame.
Chicks is chicks, 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 chicks is chicks.
Came out in 1998 because Universal just didn't care for consistency anymore after that train wreck known as Child's Play 3. This one's nearly a full-blown comedy because Don Mancini just now realized this concept was always goofier than scary. Self-awareness is good in the right places. Chucky gets hitched to Jen for titty Tilly. Katherine Heigl isn't a for once. And John Ritter is somehow worse than he was in It 1990. I'd be lying if I said this was artful cinema, but I really enjoyed the more self-aware approach this one took, and the Chucky-Tiffany duo can squeeze out a few good laughs. And, they can also just squeeze, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wait.
What?
Have you got a rubber?
Have I got a rubber?
Yeah.
Tiff,
What?
look at me. I'm all rubber.
It's uncomfortably comical to say the least. What? I can't get all pretentious now. They're f***ing Chucky movies. I don't know why anyone thought a 6-year break was a good idea, but here we are in 2004. After Chucky and Tiffany did the baloney bop for the delight of Rule 34 contributors everywhere, they gave birth to Flintheart Glomgold to Flintheart Glomgold were Adam Lanza, and they bring them back to life from animatronics on a movie set, which is stupid even with this series' loose logic. And once they're back, they say, F you to Chucky's horror movie roots and opt to go full Spinal Tap. I'm surprised I enjoy this trash as much as I do, but this one wears its campiness on its sleeve and wrings out some pretty great comedic material from it, whether from the dolls or the real-life celebrity cast. Oh, and John Waters shows up to TMZ Chucky while he flogs a dolphin. Real highbrow village voice.
Get it, mini-me.
And the breaks in between get longer and longer. It's 2013. Blumhouse and their style are dominating the horror world, and Universal wants a bite of that. But they're afraid Chucky isn't gonna make money, so they say, "Hey Don, make this one for VOD, will ya?" A wheelchair-bound girl named Nika and her mother are sent a Spencer's grade Chucky doll in the mail. When Mommy dies, the entire family comes together to not only mourn, but to pressure the grief-stricken legless girl into selling the estate for cash. Youch, too soon. Curse did what no franchise should ever do and gave in to the whiny hyperfans who had their undies in a bunch over the comedic slant of the last two. It went full-on horror this time, but it kind of worked. Sure, it was limited by its straight-to-DVD budget, but it's shockingly atmospheric considering, and to, I don't know, a 9-year-old, it might just be scary. Oh, thank God we're done. I got through all of them.
So are we finally done?
Nope, we still have Cult to review, and this one goes into way more detail than the others.
You know, those summaries sounded pretty negative. I'm not getting a "these things are good" vibe.
Oh, my dear angel, that was simply for comedic effect.
Well, it wasn't funny.
What would you know about modern comedy? You've been dead for... how long have you been dead?
72 years?
72 years! Anyway, I say we get to talking about this new Chucky movie, huh? It was pretty hard not to have expectations going in. Curse managed to be somewhat of quality, even with the budgetary restrictions. So if this one was a dumpster fire, there were really no excuses. I mean, it isn't like anyone's ever just gotten lucky with the sequel being good or anything. Nope, never once in the history of movies has that ever happened before. Still, if you weren't expecting a masterpiece, which I certainly wasn't, you should at least be hoping for a passable or serviceable successor at worst. So it's a pretty good feeling knowing that the Chucky series should be going strong well after this one, thanks to some very inspired and unique groundwork being laid. And, well, just being an entertaining horror romp in its own. I'll say it again, I refuse to be pretentious or highbrow in my critique here. That isn't what these movies ever were, nor what they should be. As such, I won't be judging them on that kind of scale. I mean, who would actually compare Child's Play 2 to Wild Strawberries? Only a lunatic. Back to business though. Cult of Chucky is probably as good as this type of movie is and ever will get, and that's okay. Because anybody with at least a sliver of humor should be able to give it a watch, laugh at the jokes, cringe in a good way at the gore, root for the good guy but look forward to seeing the bad, and marvel at some of the most creative kills the franchise has offered up. And to be honest, if you want to go all Cannes Film Festival about something, for a DVD release, the set design is unexpectedly gorgeous. The white, bright minimalism of the institution is a perfect contrast to the wild and vibrant aesthetic of Chucky, almost being representative of Nika's displacement here, and how her tales of killer dolls just aren't something the pretty straight-laced people in the asylum are willing to accept. The soundtrack isn't outstanding, though repurposing the delightfully creepy theme of the previous installment was a nice touch. It almost sounds like a music box, which gives it a playful insidiousness that was prevalent throughout the entire series tonally. It's the perfect tune for a movie like this. Again, much like in Curse, Dorif, Uinet Du give pretty great performances. Though avoiding spoilers, an event in the plot later in the film gives Fiona Dorif a chance to really go out there with her performance, and she shows that, like her father, she has no problem diving headfirst into the kooky pool and giving 10 out of 10 on the way. However, it is a low-budget horror film, so the rest of the acting is about what you'd expect, meaning not very good. Even Alex Vincent returning as Andy Barclay, which is honestly the biggest sin of this piece. It's a shame how wasted he was here. And yeah, a lot of familiar faces turn up. That means if you aren't up to speed with the series, which is highly likely, you might be a little confused. I'm all caught up myself, so it wasn't really a problem for me, but that's not the point. Convolution is never good and it shouldn't be given a pass, even in a movie as low grade as this. The writing can be a bit corny too, almost specifically dialogue-wise, so coupling that with some questionable performances can really sour an otherwise solid scene usually being carried by the Dorifs. Jennifer Tilly was a blast to watch as always though. Well, in the little bit of screen time she had, at least. Though the movie is often guilty of either half-baking clever ideas and giving the returning cast outside of Nika very little to do, when Cult is at its best, it's the best kind of cheap thrill. Campy, crude, and over the top, Cult of Chucky shows that even after its peers have flatlined, the Child's Play franchise still has a pulse and has a very long life ahead of it. If I had to rate it based on quality, yeah, it would definitely be on the lower side. But adding to that enjoyment factor, which is absolutely necessary for a film of this nature, I'm feeling maybe a 6.5, which is good. So do you finally get it?
Kind of. They aren't supposed to be taken seriously, so if you watch it through that lens, you can enjoy yourself.
Good. Glad you finally see my point.
I still don't like them, though.
Oh.
But hey, man, come on, you're in heaven. Ease up.
What do you mean?
I mean that you're dead. Don't overwork yourself like you're alive. Take a break.
Huh. I guess I never really considered taking one before.
So, do it. I'm sure your brother is down there hard at work right now. But you, my friend, you get to take it easy.
That actually sounds really nice.